Antoine Paul had recognized Steve Klein the moment he had walked onto the pier, clumsily carrying an armful of items, which included a fishing pole, tackle box, folding chair, and paper sack. Antoine had seen him on the pier before, on the night Jolene Carmichael had been murdered. At the time, Antoine thought there was something vaguely familiar about the man, yet considering he was average-looking, Antoine initially assumed the middle-aged man simply resembled someone he once knew. The morning after Jolene's murder, learning the man's name was Steve Klein prickled his memory, but it wasn't until he learned Steve was the manager of a local bank did it all fall into place. Naturally curious, considering he now knew who Steve was, Antoine discreetly shadowed the banker, watching as he entered Pier Cafe, and set what he had been carrying onto a bench in the front entry of the diner before he went up to the counter and ordered coffee. A waitress with rainbow-streaked hair took his order and didn't seem particularly friendly. In fact, she was downright hostile, and Antoine imagined she wouldn't be getting a tip. After placing the order and paying for it, Klein turned his back to her, waiting for his order. Antoine watched as the waitress went to pour coffee into a large styrofoam cup. He found it curious when her eyes darted to Steve, whose back still faced her, and then she hastily slipped something into his drink before securing the lid onto the cup. That alone would not have piqued Antoine's curiosity, but when Steve placed his coffee on the bench with his other items and then went to use the men's room, Antoine watched as the waitress quickly scurried from behind the counter and began going through Steve's belongings. From Antoine's vantage point, he could tell she removed something, but what exactly he wasn't sure. By the time Steve returned from the restroom, the waitress had disappeared into the kitchen. Steve collected his belongings, never knowing they had been tampered with.